Oh man, if they had added the light thing from My Hero Academia, the light going through his eye real quick, that could have been, it was good, it could have been better. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back for another episode of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. Sorry, kind of fucked up the opening there, but I'm here for it. Now that the detector's gotten me on a curse word in the first 10 seconds. Whatever. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board, so let's go ahead and hit that board first thing, where the board changelog is very short. We marked Himmel, Jung, Revolte, and Solide as dead. You know, actually just occurs to me, Revolte, Solide, Methode? I know we got Methode is from a family of demon hunters from the north. Is there a naming convention that's being used here, possibly? I know, maybe the E isn't pronounced the same way. Like, maybe it's just revolt, and the E is silent, and it's solid, and the E is silent, and it's method, and the E is silent. However, that would be also a naming convention, so I don't know. There's the element of that previous conversation between Jung and Revolt that was that there is a crazy demon who is, or sorry, an eccentric demon who is studying humans. And I keep thinking it's going to be one of the people that we think is a human who is actually going to turn out to be a demon. So, I don't know. Just putting pieces together that might not mean anything. Anywho, on to notes. I wonder why two of the demons covered their eyes while the other two didn't. Like, if there's any significance to that. In the grand scheme of things, it didn't really seem to affect much in terms of their survival. They died just as easily as the ones who didn't, nor did it seem like it helped their perceptions any either. I guess maybe the element of, they're blinding themselves to enhance their sense of mana detection? Which, you know, considering... I'm going to spoil a bit here. I have a future note, spoiling my own notes, rather. I have a future note regarding Frieren the Slayer, and the possibility that the demons have changed their tactics to deal with people like Frieren. And it might be the element also that now that we know that there's like demon hunting clans of humans up north, that they might have then also mimicked Frieren, in which case the demons are then evolving their tactics to then fight people like that. Kind of like the same way that we got in season 1, where, God, I keep forgetting his name. The demon who basically created killing magic, as it were. And then the humans adopted it and used it. The element might be that they saw how Frieren was doing, adopted it, and started using it. So these demons are blinding themselves, essentially. Maybe actually really, because Revolt has like these scars down the side of his face that might have been like him tearing his own eyes out, for all we know. But doing that to not get fooled, to enhance their magical detection, because the person killing them the most is a person who's hiding their magic. Just where I'm going with on that. Unfortunately, as this isn't much of an anime battle analysis channel, my thoughts related to the fights themselves are going to be relatively few and far between, meaning that since this episode is mostly fight related, I may well have a very short note section this time around. I appreciate that when Revolt is telling Ganao about his partner's death, Ganao's feathers push closer in to Revolt's throat. The shot is framed perfectly to display Ganao's emotionless face, while at the same time depicting his anger in his actions, vis-a-vis the pressing of his feathers closer to the target of his enmity. I mean, he was always going to kill him, but showing that the push occurs when the subject of his former partner is brought up is a nice touch. Young's death, for me, is the biggest letdown of this arc. And by that, I don't mean I don't like the arc because of Young dying. I had so much hope for Young that got removed with the swiftness of their removal. For one, they didn't act like a typical demon, which was super interesting. They also wanted to know more about humans, and were promised to be introduced to another strange demon that studied humans. So that would have been something for the future. There's also the element that their final words were likely an incomplete praise me, and we've been watching Sentenced to Be a Hero lately, where that line gets brought up often by another Young character. There was just so much promise in this character that to have her be a complete throwaway was just disappointing. It's the same in every era. Kind mages don't live long. Sere puts that wisdom out there, but also does their best to put out that they don't want Genau to survive. Right? That they want Genau. I don't know where my brain went with that one. They do their best to put out there that they want Genau to survive by indicating that he lacks kindness and to keep it up so that he'll live. Double-edged sword of, I care and I don't want you to die, with the whole, what an unpleasant person you are. I wonder if we'll bring back the mana-detecting fog in the future. It surely seems like a creation designed to fight against people like Frieren, people the demons surely have become wary against over time. Frieren earned a title for how many demons she's killed. It would be foolish to believe that demons wouldn't try and find a way to defeat the Slayer. Although I guess Aura is kind of the ruiner of that thought process in that she didn't seem to care very much, but then again, that might be why she died so early. Well, at least now I'll have something of note to put down for Method in my notes. She comes from an insane demon hunting clan from the Northern Plateau, though such generic information as to be essentially uninformative unless we run into some of them later. Not bad on Fern. The instant the fog went away and Hummung couldn't instantly track her, she vanished on him. I mean, didn't help that he literally turned away from her for an instant, but that was all the time she needed to suppress her mana and get to a place where he couldn't see her. I suppose invoking the weakness of the fog now, should it ever come up again anyways. And for the part of the episode I actually hate, Revolt stabs his hand through both Genau and Stark, like straight up through the center of them. Their spines would be broken, their lungs would probably be punctured as well, and God knows how much more organ damage. Among hits I'd label as guaranteed death, this is fairly high on that list. They should both be dead. Stark shouldn't have been able to walk once his spine was severed, let alone get the killing blow on Revolt. I know we exist in a world of magic, but Genau was down, and Stark doesn't know any. Frieren, Fern, and Method were still a ways away. There's no reason these two should have or could have survived. And I know, it's the story, we're supposed to root for these people, but I guess that's where my suspension of disbelief falls apart, is the obviously deadly scenarios. Because I've brought this up in so many Gundams before. The element is, if the tension doesn't exist, then what is the point of the fight, right? If I don't think anyone's ever going to die, then the fight is just a cool series of action scenes that takes place between scenes that do matter. Well, if it doesn't matter, then I don't know why I'm being shown it. So I'm not rooting for anyone to die. Well, sometimes. Well, not in Frieren. In Frieren, I'm not rooting for anyone to die. In other shows with more hate-filled people, yeah. But the idea here is, if I can watch Stark get punched straight through the chest, has spine broken, everything, and then he's just fine in the next episode, at what point do I have to be afraid that something bad is going to happen to Stark? Right? That's my thought process, and that's why it is not good to do something like this. And my final note, I am glad we invoked Sign again. It was basically one of my first questions when we started the season, if we'd see him again. Frieren's basically saying, hey, if we do, there will always be a spot in the group for him, which is good enough for me. Just even showing that we were thinking about him again. Although I will say that we are about to watch episode 9 today, and I believe it was said that Frieren is only going to be 13 episodes this season. You know, unless they're hiding a back half, and this is actually going to turn out to be 13 episodes in a core, and then we're going to have a 2-core season, and the other half is going to be later this year. I haven't heard anything about that. As far as I know, this season is only going to be 13 episodes. So if we're going to be invoking Sign, and I believe there's still 2 more bits of the opening that haven't happened yet, we are fast running out of time. I mean, unless we're going to end on Sign showing back up, and then season 3 is going to have Sign in it. At the same time, though, they've invoked Ubel, and so want to see Ubel again, too. Anyway, as I said, we do have a comment. Airwave 2K2 from a demon slaying request. If you read it out, I should not abbreviate like I did with the Demon King. DK as in Demon King, or Hero of the South for Hero of the South. HOTS for Hero of the South. Did I get Demon King wrong? I'll be honest, until I read that you said DK isn't Demon King, I was thinking Death Knight, but I don't know. You've time-coded them, but of course I don't know where that was as I didn't do any pre-investigation here. So I'm just going to read what you said and respond to that. The statue of the goddess is quite prominent in the chapter the church setting is adapted out of. The design in the manga was matching the one we've seen in episode 2 in the destroyed church the hero party found, and where Frieren casted the Field of Flowers spell. I think I've just been mentioning the goddess specifically because I think every episode of the entire second season has had an image of the goddess in it, whereas I don't think they showed up very often in the first season. In fact, somebody invoked the element that Frieren was carrying a thing that invoked an older religion, but it's the element that, like every episode, there's either something on the side of the road that is an image of the goddess, there's a statue, or it's just all over the place, and I feel like that is the sort of background element that would lead you to think something is going to happen religion-wise about this. And I don't mean the element that humans like to bury their dead like we got in the last 2 episodes. I think something, I don't know. I don't know what to expect, actually. I couldn't even throw out a guess. Werbel was going up to the far north by ship via neutral harbor. They headed, so to speak, to the coast in the west when Frieren's party met them at the way junction. Months have passed by now, traveling to the town where they polished the Hero of the South statue, traveling to Doc's domain to make the small detour to kill the demon with a sword, traveling from there to the Etwas Mountains to have a foot bath, traveling further south to stay on the onsen resort of the city of Heaves for a couple of days, traveling into the northern plateau itself through the Nachtreich region. Oh, sorry, you've missed the F. Those of you watching the scroll might see something that says dating monsters, defeating monsters. I understand what you're saying. It's just funny to me. It's like, dating monsters? What episode did I miss? On the way to reach the town in the Bayer region, spending 3 months searching with Foss for the bow shaft, traveling through the Norm Company territory, having the mining side quest, and now reaching the hometown of Genau in the Rufen region. So yeah, there could already have a half year passed in total, hence why the years after him will change to 30 years after his passing. I don't think I had any problem with the year change at Himmel. I just noted it, right? And I think I keep bringing it up as a matter of, well, now I can't remember why I keep bringing it up. I know in the episode where the number changed, or in the episode after in the notes, I mentioned it as a theory as to something happening. Specifically, I think it had something to do with like waiting for 100 years to pass or something. I mean, technically, we can, 20 years from now, the meteor shower will happen again. I don't know if that's important for anything, but if we wanted to do something specific in memory of anything, also, the anniversary of the meteor shower will always be the 50th anniversary of the death of Himmel. So, this should have sparked your memory why Method passed the exam. She finds small and cute things adorable, which she said to Sire, and got passed. I thought it was because she was just good at like all types of magic, but just like short magic. Sorry, not short, like a limited scope of every magical field. Granted, I do not remember her being super badass like she was the last episode, but, you know, we had a lot of characters back then, and I think I was mostly focused on, oh god, everybody. Like, I fucking loved everybody, most specifically, obviously Ubel. Land was super interesting. Denkin was my fucking favorite of the entire group. Werbel, obviously. Werbel and Denkin were like my top 2. Denkin turned out to be my favorite in the end with his reloading of the fists. Like, replace him with that movie gif. Yeah, I said I loved everybody, but I actually didn't feel a lot for Lane and Kane. Laufen and Richter are good because I like Denkin. If I didn't like Denkin, they would just be a group of people for me. Legitimately do not remember Tan and Lange that much at all. Those are Methode's partners. Edel, Bly, and Dunst, legitimately, again, just another group I did not care about whatsoever. And Ear and Scharf are in the same boat as Laufen and Richter for me. I like Werbel, therefore I like them, but I don't really know that much or care that much about them. The mini-anime series has 22 episodes plus 1 special as of now. 5 of these aired now in 2026 during the release of the second season. Most of the magic presented is not canon in the manga/anime and made up. For example, magic that makes you feel full. Some does feature a spell used in the manga/anime, for example, Ubel's spell that slashes almost anything, Real Seiden. Some of the early ones aired alongside the first season of the anime, and others in between, waiting for the second season. None of the magic is spoiler to what you know as of now within the last 23 episodes, where you are at in your reaction. I'm guessing that you, the first person to actually respond to me about, hey, are there specials, even though I was asking for the last, I guess, 7 episodes? You're the first person to respond, in which case you're already, I guess the next episode you see, are going to get all of the ones that I missed already because I realized, without anybody telling me, that there were, and that I had missed a ton of them. Although at the same time, last episode, completely forgot, so hopefully I do remember today. I literally have it loaded up. There's 2 more episodes to watch. So I will have those on the side, ready to go. It's not like it was with the Apothecary Diaries, where I had literally went and grabbed one per, so that I had them paired together. Gonna watch this episode with this special. Watch this episode with this special. Although again, you do say one special. I guess after, if you remember to, after you watch the one where I then watch all of the shorts, tell me if I saw the special or not. I don't remember. Unless you're talking about the food one, which was like a sponsored thing, if I recall correctly. Let me know if I saw the special or not, and then otherwise tell me what it was if I did miss it, because I want to see it, obviously. Anyway, that was your notes, that was the board, those were my notes, those are your comments, and that was the board. So nothing left to do but to see what we get from this episode.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Carriage ride? Yeah. Oh, my boy. It's my boy. So I guess it's my man, actually, because he's way older than me. Gonna see the wife? Why didn't he say that's the reason why he needed the thing to go? Because his wife was up north? Oh, don't tell me she's gonna be dead. He's seen the grave. Did I forget that? I like the idea that we didn't know anything about the Knights of Norm before, and now they're just like a feature of the North completely. Denkin, my guy. Please don't be visiting a grave. Please let me just be misremembering. Knew it was going to be the fucking opening credits. I'm not even sad. Mad. Why would I be sad? Not even mad. The opening is so fucking good. I don't know if I've mentioned this before on recording. I probably have. God knows what episode of what. Probably Fate. Probably one of the Fate shows. Of the same way that I do with the character yearly ranking, right? I think last year we had enough characters that we're actually going to finish before the end of the year. The idea of also doing a top opening, top ending ranking. Because usually I don't give that much shit about the music. Because I am the least in that field, right? But I have loved so many of the openings and endings. Although, granted, I can't include the ones here, because these are from this year, so they would be in the next year's thing. But yeah, no, the Fate openings, Frieren's opening, well, I don't know how my throat there. I guess, to some effect, some of the Gundam openings lately have been great. I'm reappreciating the Gundam 00 opening, from my initial hatred to now kind of respecting what the show was trying to do. Obviously, the Malduzu Shi openings, both the original Chinese version and the Japanese Crunchyroll version. I would just like to see who votes on what. Still in the 30 years. Oh, is it going to be Denkin's version of Ganau's story? In which case, is Frieren and company going to be... Okay, never mind. Just them going here. This dude must have money. He's got glasses. Oh, that's right. The next time on had dragons. Or they were talking about dragons. Flight of Dragons is also a pretty good animated movie if you ever want to watch it. It's pretty good RPG world building to have an entire section of the world that just gets harder to go through. You already covered that people won't do that. This is where Denkin's gonna show up for? Help him with a flight of dragons? It's a complete flip. Complete flip of their understanding when they talked to that other guy back in the other village. It was like a homestead at that point. But here's a tome. I'll take it. Yeah, I did want to show her smiling. It's like, bad negotiator. I imagine it's also the kind of spell that you would have to say a tongue twister for to do it. I'm gonna hate if the whole Denkin opening has nothing to do with what's going on here. It's also gonna be in the back of my fucking mind if I'm wrong. Denkin said nothing about his wife being up north. Of course, I'm just like tumbling over in my head. Is she dead or is she not? I don't remember. Again, bad note taking, season 1. Twice now. Frieren, praise. Remember, he still got 2 strikes. He removed 1. That's concerning, because that implies that they picked something up and dropped it and it fell across the treetops. I'm guessing the center of the 2 shapes is kind of like the dowsing rod thing. Yeah, I've seen people do that too. Can't decide which way to go. You throw a stick up in the air and which direction the stick is going. Yeah, but these might be the kids, which means the adult dragons are somewhere nearby. Yeah, anyway, referring to what, season 1? I wonder if he gave Stark as an alliterative name, what it would be. You know, Himmel the hero, HH. Stark the Superior? Oh man, if they had added the light thing from My Hero Academia, the light going through his eye real quick, that could have been, it was good, it could have been better.
"
村に教会があってよかったね。シュタルク様、途中で竜に頭かじられてましたもんね。なんで無事なんですか？
Oh, are we going to explain how he got chopped through his chest and survived by something else going on with him?
それ、絶対アイゼン様がおかしいですよ。
お待たせしました。ありがとうございました。報酬の魔導書です。
I kind of wonder who's writing these grimoires. Somebody thought, oh, an entire book on how to say tongue twister
そういえば、
without, you know, messing up.
人助けをするときはほぼ毎回報酬をもらっていますよね。ヒンメルがそうだったからね。
意外だな。
てっきりそういうのは受け取らずに人助けをする人だと思っていました。そうだよね。私もそう思っていた。
本当に助かりました。
本来もっと価値のあるものをお渡しするべきなのでしょうが、見ての通りこの村は貧しく、ご用意できるものがこれくらいしかなく。
この村から食料はさすがに受け取れんぞ。
あれは魔導書？
You think it's a matter of he was just trying to give gifts to Frieren?
特に使うあてもなく。
Or is there a matter of this has to be an exchange of some sort?
なんでヒンメルって人助けの時毎回と言っていいほど
Also, nearly every time she says.
報酬をもらっておけば貸し借りはなくなる。
There you go. There's got to be an honorable reason for Himmel.
僕たちが求めているのは誰かを助けることであって感謝の言葉じゃない。相手に貸しを作ってしまったら本当の意味で助けたことにはならないだろう。
Again, what would Himmel the hero
こ
do?
んなくだらない魔法でも報酬としてもらっておくんだよ。
フリーレン。
後で本当に噛まないか実験しようっと。結局魔法が欲しいだけじゃないですか。
Yeah, it's what he would do, but also it's something I would do. By I mean Frieren, not me, of course. Okay, I guess this is going to be the Himmel-centric episode that the title implies, and Denkin isn't going to come into play here.
全くついてないな。こんなところで足止めとは。暇で死にそうです。
飲みすぎでの間違いでしょ。
みんな元気を出したまえ。僕たちは魔王を倒す冒険の途中なんだから。
その冒険がもう何日もできていないんだぞ。
何も外を歩き回ることだけが冒険じゃない。冒険とはこういうクソみたいな日常の連続なんだ。
誰もクソなんて。
Surprised you would call it crappy at all.
何をしているんだ、ヒメル。
Does that imply he has pockets in his cape? Or cloak?
いや。
Okay, we're back to the present.
相変わらずの大荒れだな。
That guy kind of looks familiar.
今日は渡し船を出せそう。
出せると思うか。
Now unless you have a spell to calm the seas.
わしの船は棺桶じゃないぞ。
そうだよね。
しかし驚いたな。湖でも嵐って起こるんだな。
コリドーア湖は北側諸国最大の湖だからね。
That might be a clue for the map.
確かに対岸がほとんど見えないもんな。
さらに東西に大きな山脈があるせいで気流が乱れて、この時期は地獄のように荒れる。
Sorry, I just checked the map. That's not a clue.
大きな船が沈む事故も珍しくないんだ。
The interior of the north does not have a lake of any sort on it on the map.
そもそも晴天でも渡るのは難しいよ。対岸は想像以上に遠い。
Someone's always gonna be making
私
snowmen.
はともかく、フェルンは魔力が持たないでしょう。湖を迂回することはできないのでしょうか。それも難しいだろうね。
なんでだ？
そもそもの悪天候の原因が、東西の山脈だ。峠道もないような天候の荒れた
So
山脈
just wipe your mouth while you're in the middle of talking.
自殺行為だ。下手に遠回りをするくらいなら、ここで数ヶ月待った方が結果的には安全で早く進めるよ。幸いここは
Yeah, some people have a difficulty understanding that waiting and taking a route is sometimes better or preferable to just constantly moving. Same thing Eisen was doing. But Eisen was doing it on one pinky. Looks good except for everything, except for the fish heads. I swear he looks familiar.
Ah.
船は出せそう。
ああ。それで船代はあるのか。荒れる時期でないとはいえ、決して安全な航路じゃない。それなりの値段はするぞ。まったく足りんな。
フリーレン様が魔導書を買いすぎたせいですよ。暇だったんだよ。
It's a shame you didn't take any of those crystals with you. I guess like you couldn't because they sapped all your magic.
先の島に打ち捨てられた修道院があるのだが、結界が張られていてな。そこには勇者ヒンメルが残したとされる自伝があるらしい。勇者ヒンメルはわしの祖父の代にこの町を救ってくれてな。子供の頃からの憧れだったんだ。町のみんなもその自伝を欲しがっている。それを見つけてほしいんだ。
This would be the second memoir sort of thing that we found, wouldn't it?
そういえば、旅の途中で書きかけの自伝をなくしたって言っていたな。
Because didn't, in the first season, like real early on, we found Frieren's master's notes book, whatever.
まさかあんな場所にあったなんてね。いいよ。その依頼引き受けた。
Huh. I guess for as deep as it's supposed to be.
あれって船団か？マジで海みたいだな。
ああ。この時期は人や
The idea is he's using a pole though, which means he's touching bottom to push them along.
最近は北の方で何もかもが黄金でできた黄金鏡が見つかったっていう噂もある。
Oh, did Norm make a fleet? Because this feels like a thing Norm would do.
黄金鏡？それって本当かよ。
さあな。だが実際にたどり着いたってやつに会ったことはない。ただの夢物語だろうさ。あの島だ。
That was one of the demons. Who the fuck was that? Was that the Demon King themselves? So if this was any show other than Frieren, I would suspect the possibility exists that in Himmel's notes they say something like they didn't actually defeat the Demon King. But that doesn't feel right for Frieren.
魔物の襲撃で屋根が崩落したんだそうだ。古い建物だったからな。
なるほどね。それで急ごしらえの結界を張ったのか。
どういうこと？
大抵の修道院には古い貴重な書物が保管されているからね。
結界は持ち出せなかった書物を守るためのものだったのですね。
解けたよ。探索しようか。ここにいた修道士
Also, I guess it just never came back.
さあな、何しろ昔の話だ。勇者ヒンメルの
Did
事
keep the
前
spiders
の
out.
話以外、何にも残っちゃいない。
大きな書庫だな。
And a statue of Himmel, so why wouldn't it?
像がありますね。
かっこいいポーズだな。
あった。これだね。うん、間違いない。ヒンメルの字だ。
How much of that do you think is directly about Frieren? Because I would assume Himmel would write a lot about his friends too. But I'd assume the object of his love would actually be... That's cute, the backpack thing. I mean, if it's here, it either means that he left it here before they reached the end, or dropped it off on the way back and didn't finish it after.
何が書いてあるんですか？
他愛のない旅の日常。ただの日常だよ。はい。依頼の報酬だ。これで船代はチャラだね。
勇者一行にはエルフの魔法使いがいたと聞いたことがある。まさかお前だったとはな。
どうしてそう思うの？
そんなに寂しそうな顔をしていたら嫌でもわかる。それは大切なものなんだろう。お前が持っている。
I mean, I would hope it was important to her, but...
どうせここには他にも価値のある本はいくらでもある。報酬はそれで十
So,
分すぎるさ。
I had the moment of realization of what he was about to say.
そんな顔してた。
少しだけ。
ほら、日が暮れるまでに対岸に行くぞ。
I guess it's also just the irony there that Himmel's memoirs are before Journey's End.
ページの無駄遣いだ。
今度使ってみるか。かかってこい魔物よ。この戦士シュタルクが相手になろう。
Ironic.
クラーケンだ。
海の魔物までいるのかよ。
I was going to say that maybe the blank spaces were literally left by Himmel intentionally.
早く倒さないと船ごと水底に引きずり込む。
As a, here you go, now you fill in the rest. Maybe symbolic.
シュタルクこのままの弱点なの？という感じで2人なら倒せるから頑張ってね。
That's the joke shit that I would do.
早速早口言葉を噛まずに言えるようになる魔法を活用しているようですね。
Pretty funny.
そんな冷静でいられるんだよ。怖い。
It is pretty funny. No, I've done that before. Having a conversation, somebody leaves in the middle of the conversation, comes back, and I will be like, and that's what the meaning of life truly is. So I appreciate that that form of humor. Sorry, again, if I just keep wiping my nose in the middle of the reaction. For some reason, the more that I record in any given amount of time, the itchier my fucking nose gets. On one hand, I love that we covered Himmel's memoirs, because anything that has to do with Himmel and Frieren together, which is a rare occurrence, but also, I guess, denoted by the ending animation, is always fucking amazing. Obviously, though, the flash of them encountering a very dark space with a demon, I assume one of the generals in it, I swear I was looking at them, the first thing that popped in my head was that one that could see the future. Which I guess would imply that maybe she encountered both the hero of the South and the one that could see the future before they both killed each other, but I must be wrong. Maybe that was the Demon King themselves. We've never really seen what they look like. For some reason, I keep suspecting that the Demon King is alive again. And, that weird thought I threw out there that the Demon King wasn't really killed. But again, that is a story for a different show than Frieren.
僕たちが魔王を倒せば、この美しい光景を誰もが見られる時代が来るんだ。
Oh. Is it going to be for the rest of the journey? We're going to continue on with flashbacks to... Well, that has been Frieren the whole time, right? The entire show is constantly flashing back to the thing that came before and how it relates to now. But I mean, now that we have the memoirs, we can kind of enjoy it from Himmel's perspective the entire time. Because I feel like the other half of things was Frieren not really understanding. So we see things from her memory, and then we, the audience, with understanding, can parse that out. Or, Fern and Stark can suggest what might have actually been happening to her. But now, we have it in Himmel's own words, which can be something that she will then unravel as time goes on in the next 3 episodes, right? I guess my only real disappointment here is the opening with Denkin. Because again, Denkin's my guy. Denkin won me over in the second half of the first season. To the point I just want, well, to be fair, I would say to the point that I just want to see more of him. But as I said in the beginning, I want to see more Werble, I want to see more Ubel, I want to see more Land, and I want to see more Denkin. To be fair though, who the hell knows what comes from what? I legit did not care anything about Method during the testing, and certainly didn't think I would care anything about after the testing. I would say that I valued Method's scenes here in the last couple episodes as much as I did Ganau's. And of course, I did not even think about wanting to see Ganau, because the same reason that I would not even think about seeing, what's her name, the hair girl. The proctors of the test just don't even enter into my head. But yeah, no, I guess those were the most important things to me from this episode so far. And again, the flip-flop of Frieren telling them why the homesteaders, or the people who refused to leave the locations of their former townships, was so important, to then flipping to, oh, you should leave, this place is done. And then Fern and Stark having to then reflect back to her the things that she had already told them. So that was pretty good. I assumed that Frieren was just trying to get them to say the things that she knows that they understood before. I don't believe that she actually believes what she said. Yeah, I think that might be it for now. As I said before, though, we do have the extras. As I gotta keep up with those, even if you're telling me they're not canon. Well, who knows, actually? Because remember in the first season's extras stuff, there was the spells that actually got used in the episodes. I think there was 2 of them. So if we watch one of these and want to make a guess if any of these spells are going to come up in the next 3 episodes, gotta watch them to know, right? So let's go ahead and hop on into the first one. Alright, Magic 2. Spill your thoughts out, Part 2.
魔族も倒したし、シュタルクたちのところに戻ろうか。
そうですね。ちなみにフリーレンさん、また頭をなでなでさせてもらってもいいですか?
Remember that Stark and Ganau are bleeding to death on the ground right now while this is happening.
あら、残念。
メトーデ様ってよくわからない人ですね。
Also implying that they didn't rush back to help.
戦いも見ていたけれど、相当な手だれだ。冷静なところもあれば、
I don't think she's oblivious. She doesn't act like she's oblivious.
そうだ。考えていることを言ってしまう魔法を使ってみようか。そんな魔法があるんですか?
Really, all of the extras should just be Frieren using this one spell on every character we meet.
ものすごく残酷なことを考えていたりして。ああ、さっきの衝動が抑えきれない。
さっきの戦いを思い出してるのかな?
No, obviously it's about cuteness. She is self-aware.
そしてフェレンさんもなでなでからのギューからの
Yeah, we didn't get Fuck, that was crazy look. How future me remembers I'll use that as the animation thing in the middle.
急ぐけど前を歩いてね。
なんでですか?
I like that. That one was fun. Oh, see, sorry, there's the playlist here, but I guess this would have been a clue. Sorry, you guys can't see my mouse, so there's no even point doing that. The side bit there would have been a clue for all of that. However, I think this aired after the arc, unlike before, I think, when me and Justin were watching, and we had that, like, shattered glass image showing us all the participants of the different groups that were going to matter to us for the exam arc, where that was kind of like a clue of, hey, what do you think is going to happen here? What do you think this is alluding to? This shown after the fact, so... Yeah, no, I like that. That was fun. Also, the insane animation of her rubbing her face up against Fern with the crazy eyes, that was good. As it turns out, I thought that I had 2 left. The previous one was for doing laundry, which I think we already watched before, which is Fern getting the laundry spell from Frieren for passing the exams. So, in this instance, there is only the one. Of course, I guess I could ask you to tell me if there's more, but the element is that I get these from somebody who does the translations for all of the added short materials. I think this is the same person, Benno Subs, the same person who I was getting my Apothecary Diaries one for, which I guess I'll have to check out their thing, because I might be able to get them in a more reliable way than straight up off of YouTube. Either way, that catches us up, so if I make a mistake again, it'll only be from here forwards. That said, though, as always, I do freaking enjoy Frieren. It is a good balance between action, where action seems reasonable, and otherwise emotional journey, which, to be fair, as I've always said, I'm bad with the emotion stuff, but this is exactly as much as I can handle, and sometimes need. So, yeah. That said, that's what we're going to wrap up with today, though. So, again, I have been Theta, this has been Stone-Faced Reactions, and we will catch you again next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?